Welcome back, my friend, to the Quick Focus Blueprint program, and I have some amazing, great news for you. You are 1/3 through this program. We are 1/3 through this adventure, this journey to better focus together, and I want to congratulate you for that. On our podcast, we had a good friend named Dr. Jeff Spencer, and he's the corner man to a lot of successful individuals, and he's an Olympian cyclist, and he always thought about and talked about just one more push, one more step, one more round, one more pedal, and it gets you there, right? The journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step, and you are 1/3 through these steps, and so congratulations. And so most people don't know that they have the ability to control their focus like you do. They have the ability to influence their own minds, their habits, their emotions, and we know that you're the kind of person who's striving for growth. You're striving for new levels of success and joy and fulfillment, however it is you define it. And in order to accomplish anything, you need focus. And so I love this conversation that we're having because you know that we can take charge of our mind so that we can maintain our focus, we can maintain our concentration, and live the life of our dreams. So how do you focus really on what you want? And this is where this kind of training, this kind of mental training is used to create important results for you by eliminating old, habitual, negative thought processes, negative habits, things that are holding us back. So part of what we've been doing is unlearning, and when we talk about our not to-do list, things that we don't want to do, or we set a standard of this is what we won't do anymore, and you remember that. And this is very empowering because it puts you in charge of your thinking. We're creating our own reality with our thoughts, with our feelings, with our behaviors, and how we're using our mind. And so to help you do that, we are beginning day 10. And this is exciting because this, now that we're 1/3 through the system, this is your assimilation day. Now, when I talk about assimilation, what is it? This is your day to synthesize. We've covered a lot of information up to this point, and I don't want to get ahead of ourselves here. And so this is your day to synthesize, to catch up. This is where we're connecting your skills and the knowledge that you're getting from multiple lessons and experiences, and you're taking your own personal experience, and you want to apply these skills and practices in various settings. So when I'm talking about focus, and we're thinking about the context of focus at work, focus on your relationship, focus on your health, focus on being productive, focus on your joy, you could apply these towards various settings, and utilizing like all the diverse tools and resources and even different points of view that we're offering here. When I mention one book and a second book and a third book, everybody, I believe, nobody knows everything, nobody has anything 100% right, but I also think that I have a general belief that nobody knows nothing, that everybody has something to learn and different understanding of different issues and positions of context. And by taking this day to catch up and synthesize, this is where coaches have known this forever, right? Ordering track stars and quarterbacks and cyclists and baseball, basketball players to take a break after every season to let their mind and body recover. So that's what we're going to do in this lesson. This is your day to synthesize, to assimilate, and to really catch up, because we're 1/3 through this marathon, this 30-day marathon, if you will. And to do that, I want to help you to really own and get this into your body and make it personal for yourself. So we know in our programs, we teach that learning is not passive, learning is active, right? You don't learn based on consumption, you learn through creation. Let me say it again. You don't learn by just being lectured to and listening to a program like this or just passively reading a book. And that model is like the author, the expert is doing it to you. But we want to know that you are doing it as well, because that way you own it and you're not dependent on it. It's like that phrase that says, give a person a fish and you feed them for the day, teach them how to fish, and they can feed themselves for a lifetime. And the idea for me is give a person an idea and you enrich their life, but teach person how to focus, teach them how to learn, and they can enrich their own life. And that's really what it's all about. And so in order to do that on day 10, as we're celebrating, I want to help you to put on your focus cap. your focus cap, and that's CAP. And this is what I call your concentration action program. That's what CAP stands for. So imagine yourself putting on a cap, whatever your favorite color is. Imagine what color it is, and you're putting it on your mental frame, right? You're putting it on your skull, which houses your brain. And this is your concentration action program. That's what CAP stands for. And so what I'm going to ask you to do in this lesson, as this is your assimilation day, is to, before we go ahead of ourselves, and we're going to go even faster in the upcoming next 10 days, and then we will reassemble here and then go into the final 10 days. So this is like your 10-day stretch. We pause and we focus on your CAP, your concentration action program. So we integrate it, we make it your own, and then we do another 10 days. And on day 20, I'm going to show you a really cool tool on how to really integrate this even more. And so what we're going to do right now, instead of learning something brand new, we're going to take what we've already learned and put it to action. And that's your CAP, your concentration action program. So what I want you to do right now is to take out your notebook and go through and circle your 3 biggest outcomes for this in terms of the strategies. We talked about how it's important to, when we're talking about a GPA, your goals, your big focus goals, the purpose behind those goals, right? Start with why. And finally, the action. And really, this is your action part. This is the CAP. This is your concentration action program. So we covered a lot of information. What I want you to do is circle the 3 tools or techniques or ideas or resources that we could employ right now. Now, this day also is a great day to catch up, because if you missed any days prior to this, this is the perfect day to review anything that you missed. And if it's not review, maybe you haven't seen it, maybe you skipped a day, this is the time to do that. Now, you should not skip a day. Now, the reason why is it's okay if you miss 1 day, but if you miss 2, it becomes a habit, right? And so you want to take the time and be in integrity with yourself and take the 10, 15, 20 minutes to be able to listen to each of these lessons. Now, as you're going through your notebook and you're circling the 3 big lessons, remember the tools, the techniques, the strategies, the resource that you're going to employ right away. I want you to remember, and I'll walk you through some of the things that we talked about. We talked about the art of capturing information, right, of note-taking, specifically in your focus journal. And we talked about your GPA, and I'm talking about this as if you're doing this with me. So as you're going through your notebook, you could go along with me, but we talked about your goal, your purpose, and your action. We talked about how it goes from your head to your heart to your hands. And we also talked about it's not just your actions, but it's also your inactions that allow you to focus, meaning the things you do not do. So we talked about the power of a not to-do list. And this being your assimilation day, if you haven't done all the homework, this is the day to do that also as well. So my question for you is, do you have your not to-do list? Have you built this out? What's on your not to-do list right now? Is it foods that you won't eat, like we talked about? Is it not checking your phone? Is it not looking at screens the last hour of the day? What is on your not to-do list? So build that out. We also talked about how your attention doesn't really exceed 25 minutes, that after about 25 minutes, there's a dip in your level of attention, your ability to pay attention and concentrate. So we talked about the Pomodoro technique, which is your break, 25 minutes study or work, concentration. Your alarm goes off and you take a 5-minute brain break. And what are you doing there in that brain break? 3 things. You're hydrating, you're breathing, doing deep breathing, and finally, which helps you to clear your mind, which helps you to focus, and then finally you move, because you don't want to be sedentary. That's on your not to-do list. Your not to-do list is you don't sit down for 8 hours without a break and just work. We also talked about the other things that take away from your focus, which is focus foods. Certain foods that enhance your focus, and there's certain foods you should eliminate because it hurts your focus. And I think you remember what those foods are to be able to avoid, especially the junk foods that really make us hyperactive and makes our focus even more distracted. We talked about it's not just what you eat, but it's the thoughts that we're feeding ourselves, right? The external stimulus, the television, everything else that affects and creates negative thoughts. And so we want to know that we have responsibility we're able to respond and control our negative self-talk, our negative beliefs. And we talked about a technique to be able to help you to do that. One of them was ABRA, right? First, you acknowledge it, and then the B is you breathe into it, the R is you release it, and then the A is you align to your true self, that you have gifted focus, that you are a genius, that you have superpowers. And it's not about how smart you are, it's really how are you smart. And that really determines your focus in terms of where you put your thoughts and your beliefs behind it. We talked about the power of exercise and movement and different exercises you could do to be able to stimulate your brain, and the power of movement, specifically scheduling movement each time, because as your body moves, your brain grooves, and it helps to reinforce better focus. We talked about your positive peer group and the idea of having a focused friend. And remember, this is your assimilation day. So have you found your focus friend? Do you have your learning buddy? Somebody that you're teaching this to, that you're doing this and you're holding each other accountable to. We talked about levels of change, meaning that you could also have multiple focus friends and put them into what they call a mastermind. And right out of the book, Think and Grow Rich, the power of people who are like-minded, growing minds and giving hearts, if you will, that you are the people that you spend the most time with. So you could determine who's your peers. You could love your family and love your friends, but you could choose who has influence on how you feel about yourself and on your identity and how it molds your beliefs and your values and your habits and your behaviors. So positive peer group. And then finally, the last two things we talked about, and I want to repeat and review, because that's part of what we're doing here in your concentration action program. In this assimilation day, we don't want another day to go by without you using the information, because knowledge is not power. It's a myth. Knowledge by itself is not power. Knowledge is potential power. It becomes power when, why? Why is when we use it, right? How is when we apply it. And so we want to remember that having clarity, having a focused mind requires also a clean environment. That when you clean your environment, you clean your laptop, desktop, office, then you aren't stimulating yourself in other directions. You're not distracting yourself, because every time when your environment is not clean, it's taking your attention either consciously or unconsciously away. So have you cleaned your room yet? This is the action step, right? And so this is where the rubber meets the road. As your coach, I don't want you to make this cognitive. This is your concentration action program. And remember, the key word in there is action, because action is real power. And so have you cleaned your environment? Do you need to schedule time? Do you need to hire somebody to help maintain your environment once a week? So clean environment. And then finally, we talked about the power of sleep. We talked about the power of sleep. Have you taken the time to be able to go and have deeper levels of sleep? Have you made sleep a priority? And again, this is all common sense, but it's not common practice. So the point of this concentration action program, the point of this assimilation day is in saying, have you taken ideas and implemented them? And have you taken, it's really ideas to implementation. Have you taken your knowledge and turned it into real power? And so with sleep, have you put together your best sleep habits, your sleep hygiene? Have you set up your optimal sleep environment? Have you dedicated some of your activities where you'd say, hey, I'm going to wear my blue blocking sunglasses at night, the last hour of the day? Have you done that? Have you scheduled your sleep each night? And so this, again, is your assimilation day. This is where we're synthesizing everything together. We're focusing on catching up, maybe on some of the lessons. This is your day opportunity to also take a breath and review anything that you want to be able to get better at. And also it's your day to be able to catch up, because if you didn't do any of the homework in previous lessons, this is your time to do so. So thanks for joining me for this lesson. I want you to build out your CAP. I want you to put in the comments your 3 things that you're going to focus on in terms of building your CAP, your concentration action program. And it does not have to be perfect. List 3 things that you've learned, or maybe something that you've created for yourself based on our teachings together, and write those down in the comments. But you must write it down so everybody can see it, because we learn the best by paying it forward and by teaching other people also as well. Plus, it changes your identity, because this becomes who you are. because you become a focus coach, if you will, also as well, because you're coaching us right back. And so put those 3 ahas in the session, in the comments. And I look forward so much to going through the next 2/3 of this program together. I absolutely can't wait. We'll talk to you tomorrow.